I'm always delighted to be with Saul News. This has been such a leader in the conservative movement and the Republican Party.
Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for May 27th, 2022. An article from the Daily Wire reports, Energy Secretary Granholm, soaring gas prices are an exclamation point that U.S. must accelerate green energy push. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm said that soaring gas prices are a major reason why the U.S. economy must transition away from fossil fuels and toward green energy. Speaking to reporters during a press conference in Golden, Colorado, announcing a $38 million investment by the Department of Energy to decarbonize its national laboratories, Granholm said that continuing concern about rising prices at the pump was an exclamation point on the need to accelerate the transition away from fossil fuels. During the exchange with reporters, Granholm also referred to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and its effects on the global oil supply as a reason to push for more green energy. Granholm said, quote, "No one has ever weaponized access to the sun," referencing Russia's move to cancel energy exports or demand shipments to be paid in Russian rubles. She went on to say, "No one has ever weaponized access to wind. The way we are energy secure is to build homegrown, clean energy, and other countries are looking into this as well." The Washington Free Beacon reports, Stacey Abrams struggles to explain why black turnout is soaring under Jim Crow 2.0. Stacey Abrams, the election truther who self-identifies as the winner of Georgia's gubernatorial race in 2018, continues to struggle on the campaign trail. Just days after denouncing Georgia as the worst state in the country, Abrams gave a bumbling response to a reporter's question about why voter turnout was soaring in the state, especially among black voters, despite what Democrats have repeatedly claimed was Jim Crow 2.0, a regime of so-called voter suppression.
In this primary, despite not having the resources of Republicans or the competition of Republicans, what we have seen is record turnout among communities of color, among Latino and Hispanic and black communities. Those are voters who weren't in the mix 4 years ago, and they are showing up in this primary, and we know they'll show up again in November.
What do the early voting numbers tell you? Is it possible that Democrats go wrong and that the new law isn't suppressing votes?
The question about voter suppression and voter turnout is causation without correlation. I'm sorry, see, you can make mistakes even when you know what you're talking about. It's correlation without causation. We know that increased turnout has nothing to do with suppression. Suppression is about whether or not you make it difficult for voters to access the ballot.
Abrams had previously accused Republicans of stealing the right to vote by passing legislation to roll back some of the election measures instituted at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. President Joe Biden described the GOP voting reforms as Jim Crow on steroids. And finally, an article from The Hill states, Manchin calls for common sense gun limits, resists filibuster reform. Senator Joe Manchin on Tuesday lamented the lack of Senate support for tougher gun laws following a mass shooting in Texas just hours earlier, but rejected the notion of eliminating the filibuster for the purpose of passing such a bill. Pressed on whether he would consider scrapping the filibuster to tighten the nation's gun laws, he warned that it would lead to chaos in the Senate. The response is consistent coming from the West Virginia centrist, who along with Senator Kyrsten Sinema, a Democrat from Arizona, has resisted pressure from fellow Democrats to get rid of the filibuster in order to pass various pieces of President Biden's legislative agenda. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for May 27th, 2022. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.